Step 1 would be to download the various components of the horse piñata from my website, The Helpful Art Teacher. Step 2 is to cut the edges off so that the edge of the picture is at the edge of the paper. So this was here and I cut it off. If you can look real close, the paper kind of turns gray at the edge of the picture. So you want to cut along that very light, barely visible gray line on all 4 sheets of paper. Step 3, position your horse in such a way that you have enough room on your poster board to trace the box. That's where the candy goes on the piñata. So you're going to need enough room on your one piece of poster board, trace the box. So this is how I put the horse on the poster board. You're going to do that before you do any gluing so that you don't end up having to do it twice. Now I've flipped my entire horse over in the back. You can just see the design making out in the back. So I make sure it all matches. However, the picture is now facing down, and notice I've put it on some scrap paper that I don't need. So that way I don't get any glue on the table. I like to use the Elmer's multi-purpose spray adhesive. You could use Elmer's glue if you put it on very lightly, or some sort of rubber cement or a glue stick. But the idea is to put a light layer of glue on the back of all 4 pieces, and do that quickly without having the glue be so heavy that the paper buckles. And this spray glue is ideal for that. Unfortunately, can't really use the spray glue around children. A lot of kids are sensitive to the fumes. So you would either do this before your workshop, before the kids came in, or if you were having the kids do it, you'd use a different sort of glue. One thing that I like about the spray glue is it allows you to reposition. If you put something on crooked or you mess up, you can pick it up and reposition it. You have a window of time to do that. One thing I do not like about it is it tends to make the table extremely sticky. So you always need to have something protective on your table. It's very hard to scrub that stickiness off. Also, you don't want to get that stickiness on your hands. It doesn't come off easily from your hands. So now I have everything glued on here. If I pick it up, it won't fall off. And now the conventions of paper folding dictate that any solid line gets cut and any dotted line gets folded. So I'm going to do all the cutting now, and then I will turn back the camera and do the special note. This is not the tail. This actually gets glued underneath to form the stomach where the candy box ends up going. So it's very important that you don't cut this off. I have cut out the horse. I will cut out the candy box later. Before you do any folding, you need to poke a couple of holes. One here so that you can later fasten a string to hang your piñata, and one here for the tail, which will be made out of yarn. I actually opted to poke 2 holes in the back so that I can loop the yarn through the body. I would have an adult poke the holes since the poster board is rather thick and we don't want kids to hurt them. When you start folding, the printed dotted lines go on the inside. Really don't want them to show because they're not really part of the design. I'm going to be folding the neck and the head like so. As you can see, by folding the head like this, it's beginning to look quite a bit like a horse. Folded the sides of the head down and the ears up. The part that looked like a tail gets folded down here, and notice I have taped it around here. One flat piece. Wrapped it around here and put one piece of tape on this side. And I just wrapped it here and put another tape on the other side. This leaves a nice slot for a candy box to be slipped in. If you do not have a handy-dandy, convenient-sized box, there is a pattern on my website that I created for a box that will fit inside the horse's body. However, our students were very good about saving these breakfast boxes for us, and they are the right size. All I need to do is tape the top, and I'm going to cut it just about here so that this half here will be my box. This part right here is what I'm going to save, and this part I can use for somebody else's piñata, or I could just recycle it. So at this point I now have this little box, and I'm going to slip it inside here. A couple of pieces of tape, and the box should fit snugly and securely in there. I noticed as I was building it that it was a little tight back here, so I had to remove the tape along this side of the stomach piece in order to make room for the box. The box should be removable because that is where the candy goes. So let's see. Here's the box, and it should be able to slide it out and put the candy inside there. Poke the yarn in with the scissors, and then poke it through the other side and tie a loop with a knot on the inside of the horse's body so that nobody can see the knot. Knot inside the horse's body, and this loop will enable you to hang up your piñata. Okay, make sure that the hole is not too far back on the body so that the piñata hangs evenly. I noticed my hole is a little too far back, so I probably need to put it closer to the head. Putting a narrow slit in the back of the horse's back and sliding the yarn up completely solves the problem of the crookedly hanging horse. So all I did was make a narrow slit and slide the yarn up through it. It will stay in place because the yarn is wider than the cut that I made. The tail can be made of crepe paper or yarn and attached with glue or tape as you see fit. The body can be decorated with crepe paper or simply colored, although I believe crepe paper looks more authentic. And as you can see, the box is inside the horse. If this was actually Cinco de Mayo, it would be filled with candy and ready to be broken open by eager children.